Is something going to blast off?
No.
Oh, okay.
Hi, guys. Welcome to Threads Podcast, Life Unfiltered. Thank you so much for joining us tonight as I get situated here and find my audio so I don't know if I'm screaming too loud. I'm going to bump myself up a little bit. There we go. So Ben is not here tonight. Unfortunately, he had something come up, so we had this scheduled out for months, and so I want to welcome you to the podcast. This is Todd Chance from Daddy Daughter Time Organization. Correct?
Thanks, Jason. Yeah, thank you.
All right. So Threads is kind of Ben always does this intro, so this might be a little weird for me.
Do your best, Ben.
Yeah. So basically, Threads is some vulnerability about mental health, our parenting. We both come from Ben's a foster dad, and I came from a pretty dysfunctional family, and I have an autistic son. So all that to be said, that's kind of what we talk about. And we also interview people that, that are interesting to us. And so that's why I reached out to you.
I'm glad I made the list. Thanks.
Yeah.
I got to be honest. I wish Ben could have made it because that foster parenting thing is in my background too.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. My biological parents were foster parents.
Okay.
We had like 12 at one point when I was like 4 or 5 years old.
Oh, wow.
And I was always the youngest. No matter what, even still now, because one of those kids we adopted. So I have an adopted brother. I have a half sister. I have twin sisters. I have every kind of sibling pretty much covered.
Okay.
Even step siblings now.
Okay.
Because my mom, dad passed and she remarried. So
Okay.
I pretty much got them all covered. But yeah, we had foster kids were part of my growing up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So I wondered how long we'll go on this podcast before you say, why haven't you renewed your membership? I'll just call it out now. So I felt bad about that. It's one of those things. I know it was a tech thing, right? Like your processor didn't auto renew and then canceled everybody. And you were probably like,
I was like, oh no. Yeah, we have it set up so if someone buys a membership to Daddy Daughter Time, that it should automatically renew.
Yeah, like everything else.
Like everything does, unless you cancel it, which is a smart way to help people retain.
Yeah.
And it flipped out on us, and a whole 6-7 months of it wasn't working. So
wow.
So I lost them. I didn't want to harass people, so I didn't.
Oh, well, good for you.
To tell you the truth, I wasn't going to ask you.
You weren't?
I really wasn't going to ask you.
I don't know. You can tell the truth. I don't know if you've listened to any of our episodes, but we call it like it is. Like
I'm not. Yeah.
I call Ben outright. Like this is crap. Like you're not doing what you said you were doing.
You will hear nothing but blunt honesty out of me. That's pretty much how I roll too. But no, I hadn't even crossed my mind on your own podcast to call you out on my organization.
I was gonna be like, should I wait or just do it myself?
I'm glad you did.
I thought it would have been hilarious if you did.
Oh, so. No, I would never.
So, okay, why don't we just go into just who you are?
Okay.
What kind of podcasts do you listen to, by the way? If you have time.
I do listen to right now. Believe it or not, this is going to sound really strange because it's not your typical podcast. But I'm listening to Duolingo podcasts.
I don't even know what that is.
All right, so there's this app called Duolingo that goes on your phone or on your computer that basically can teach you one of 80 different languages.
Oh.
And I was a Spanish minor in college and have retained enough to talk to maybe a 3-year-old poorly. So I was like, I really enjoyed that, and I took to it, and I have a really good accent. People who speak Spanish say that I have a really good accent. So maybe I thought, okay, I'll do this every day, and I got hooked on it.
Okay.
But they do this their podcast is done ingeniously because it's done in intermediate Spanish, and there's a narrator who speaks English and comes in and kind of gives you context throughout the story.
Okay.
So you'll hear somebody speaking, and I'll pick every fifth word, and sometimes I'll get really pumped because I got like 80% of it and understood what they were saying.
Yeah.
But then when she comes in to continue the story along, she does little callbacks to what was just spoken in Spanish. Very well done, not very obviously, but she really provides good context to help you understand where the story is going. And I probably pick up about half that, but that's the podcast I've been listening to. Audiobooks are a big part of my life just because I have long drives to pick up my daughter. I'm a divorced, and so I have part-time custody. So, and it's a long drive because she lives in near the Indianapolis area.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I'm doing, 4-hour round trips. And so audiobooks have become a big deal, but we are both now deep into Harry Potter. I think number 2, almost at the end of 2, going on to 3. So she's 9, so she's right in the wheelhouse of the Harry Potter world.
Yeah. I never read any of them, but all the kids have read them and watched the movies, and so they're super excited about that. Where did you grow up? Did you grow up in Grand Rapids?
No, I'm a transplant, but I've drank the Kool-Aid. And trust me, it wasn't Kool-Aid that I thought I was going to like.
Right.
Because I grew up... I'll give you the short version. Central Illinois. I grew up actually west of Chicago. I was born Rockford, Illinois, and just west of Chicago, about an hour west, and didn't even know there was a Rockford, Michigan. And then my parents moved down to Central Illinois, really in the middle of nowhere, and they did that for church. They did that because they wanted to become foster parents. So they got involved heavily. That was weird.
That was perfect.
I meant heavily, but I said heavenly.
I mean,
like I don't know if
talked about church.
It is Sunday. So they got involved in that, and that's when, for a few years, they were doing that, considered being missionaries. I heard a lot of stories about us moving to Spain or to Montana or where we were going to go, but they ended up ditching that, and Dad became an aluminum worker. He was a truck driver for a while, then an aluminum worker, and Mom worked at medical records in a hospital.
Okay.
Blue-collar stuff, and lived literally... I'm talking my graduating class in high school was, I think, 29.
Whoa.
And we were the big class.
Wow.
Because I think there was just about 100 kids in the whole school.
Holy cow. So was it like K through 12 in one building? Not one building,
almost,
but pretty close.
Literally across the street, which wasn't a street. Right. It was like to the parking lot. So you would walk from one building to the other when you got out from elementary, middle to high school.
The bus would just go right down the middle of the parking
lot. And just shoot them out each side. Yeah. It was literally, it was that small. So, when I graduated there, I didn't really fit in small town. I didn't. When you don't grow up in a small town, when you're not a local, you'll never fit in.
No,
you're a transplant basically to a clique.
Yeah, everyone knows each other.
Right, and so high school wasn't pleasant for me. School wasn't great, so I immediately went to Cal State. I went to Pacific Christian College in Cal State Fullerton. Okay. So I took a flight to California to get as far away from the sticks as I could.
Wow,
and enjoyed that for. Gosh, had a great semester, made the dean's list. Next semester, dumped out.
Did you?
My parents were so proud.
Really?
Oh no, they were furious. I'm sure.
I mean, why did you just?
I didn't. I thought I was like I thought maybe I would try this acting thing.
Oh really?
Right. I had that dream. Small Midwestern town boy gonna gonna go, and I found out very quickly that I can't act worth crap.
Okay.
I'm not good at it.
Right.
At all. So. Did other things, worked at Disneyland for a summer.
Oh, was that cool?
That was a cool job.
Oh, yeah. That's a good experience.
20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, to date myself. We're talking a long time ago. Like that had been, at that time was the oldest ride in the park, and then it got replaced by Nemo, and I think Nemo's gone.
So, that really ages you.
It really does. So that was only 2-3 years of my life out in California, and I decided to come back and get to work, and then ended up going back to school, getting my degree, and then figuring out what I was going to do. An interesting story, I tell you. I worked for a place called Redneck Trailer Supplies. That's where I lived in Central Illinois. They had a place called Redneck Trailer Supply, and there's a reason why. I mean, you ever heard of a gooseneck trailer?
Yeah,
sits in the fifth wheel.
Yeah,
that has that neck. Well, evidently there was some place in Alabama that our main competitor had started. And no matter what color the trailer was, he painted the gooseneck yellow. So it was Yellowneck Trailer.
Oh.
And so the owner of our company thought he was going to sell parts too and do the same thing and paint them. He must have known what he was doing.
Yeah, because redneck.
I mean seriously. But it sounds small. It was like the Walmart of trailer supply companies. Okay. It was like we sold coast to coast, and it was big ticket items, and from axles to trailer lights to whatever.
And that was just for like fifth wheels and stuff?
Oh, it was for anything. Horse trailers, little piddly trailers that you're just hauling stuff around your yard, all the way up to air brake semi.
Wow.
So, I had a choice there to manage one of their branches in Sikeston, Missouri, or go back to school. I went back to school.
Good choice.
I didn't want to live in Sikeston, Missouri. And so, yeah, graduated college. And
what did you study? Broadcasting?
Yeah, mass comm. Mass comm with a Spanish minor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
And I didn't know what I wanted to be. I didn't know what I wanted to be for a long time. Now I do. It just took a long time to figure out what I wanted to do. Some people, I envy people who know that at a young age. I don't understand how they do it.
Yeah.
But they do it, and I wish, because you're going to save a lot of time.
Yeah, but I mean, at least you got the degree that you're working in now.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of people that get their 4-year degree in history, and they're like, I had a passenger last night, and she was a dentist, and her son went and got a history degree, and we both kind of looked at each other, and she's like, yeah. History.
Yeah, what restaurant's he working at?
Right. I don't know where he's actually what did she say? Somewhere in corporate. Dish Network. I know. Out of all that, he's looks over contracts. He's like works. I don't know, something.
Nothing to do with history, right?
No, but I mean, at least he's got a decent job.
Yeah, that's good.
But how long have you been in the media business?
Yeah, that's where when I graduated college. A buddy of mine, the only friend I really made in college. I happened to be, at the time, working as a supplemental worker at UAW, building Mitsubishi cars on Fridays and Mondays, and then tendon bar during the week.
Okay.
This was where my degree took me.
Wow.
Right? But I heard him on the air at the local top 40 station, and I said, I know that guy. That's my buddy.
Yeah.
So I call him up. I know this is the station that I called up as a kid. This was the top 40 station.
So, this was in Illinois?
Yeah, Central Illinois. I'll even give it a shout out if I can.
I don't care.
That's a 101.5 WBNQ.
Ooh, look at you.
That was the station. And so, I call up Jay, and I'm like, hey, man, what are you doing? He goes, quick, I just started this show. I got crickets on the phone lines. Nobody's calling. It's an all-request show. Request a song for me. I'm like, okay, whatever you want.
Yeah.
I'll tape you. We'll play it back, and it'll be a request.
All right.
Like, okay. Kaja Goo Goo Too Shy. And I had never heard of that in my life. But if I gave it to you now, you'd probably know. Too shy, shy, hush, hush. I'm not going to sing the song, but it's an 80s song.
Okay.
Right? And so, So I request it, and then he calls me back the next day, and he's like, we went to school together. What are you doing? And I told him what I was doing for a living. And he said, you should come here.
Yeah.
Come do this. I mean,
did he have a degree in that? Or
yeah, he was like the program director of the college station.
Oh, okay.
J Pat is one of the smart. As a matter of fact, he just left radio after almost 20 years of being brilliant at it to start his own company to help small businesses.
Oh.
I mean, he's just one of those guys who's just like, you look at him and you think, you know stuff.
Yeah.
You just do.
You know
and you inspire people, and you know how to. I mean, he's the type of guy who would. I always used to say I sucked at being a friend, and I wouldn't know how to be one if I hadn't had him as a friend. Because he was so good at being a friend.
That's a pretty big compliment.
Well, yeah, he showed you how to do it. And he was just that way in a lot of different areas of life.
Okay.
So I love that man. Best man at my wedding.
Oh.
So I did radio, and our show, our Saturday night all request retro party, became the #1 show in the market. We had no playlist. We would play literally
whatever you wanted.
Gilligan's Island theme into Madonna, into Convoy, into whatever you wanted to hear.
Okay.
And we'd have
fun.
Yeah, we were just crazy. We were actually dropping needles on records. And we're like, wow.
That ages you too.
Right? That's well, this was 70s and 80s.
Yeah. I didn't say it. Yeah.
but I mean, this wasn't in the 70s and 80s. That was just the music we were playing.
Right.
And some of that music, all we had were the old records.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm hoping anyone listening to this podcast knows what that is. Vinyl's still around.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's coming back.
Yeah,
a lot of those
big
artists are putting out vinyl with everything else.
So that led to a 12-year career in 13 years in radio.
Okay.
And, with in management as a program director or a morning guy, ended up being mornings for about 7 years of that.
Okay.
That was a really good time. It was good and bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Early mornings though, right?
Yeah, very early, very taxing. I still remember the first gig I got. I think it was at WIOG in Saginaw, and I asked the guy in Rockford, Illinois. I had actually gotten an afternoon gig, an APD gig in Rockford at ZOK, and I said to the morning guy Shannon, I was like, buddy, I'm going to be a morning guy for the first time. What should I know? And he said, you're going to be tired all the time.
Yeah.
That's all you need to know. You're going to be tired all the time. He was right. You were constantly not getting enough sleep.
I mean, you're out by like 11, probably in the morning, right?
Oh, you're still you're working a day.
Really?
Oh yeah, you're still working the whole day because there was live shoots. I mean, you're out doing your thing.
That sounds horrible.
It was when people ask me if I miss radio, I always say the same thing now, and it's an honest answer. I miss the act of broadcasting. Like this right here is a joy to me.
Yeah.
I haven't done this in years.
Really?
To be able to sit down, throw the cans on, and talk into a mic about anything.
Yeah.
So this is a treat for me.
Yeah, that's why I love podcasting. How often, like Ben and I talk about, how often are you sit across from your friend for hour and a half, and no phone's going off, nothing, and you're just like talking about real stuff, you know.
No screen time and all that. Right?
Yeah, it doesn't happen very often. Even though I say that, we have all this technical.
I hope
stuff.
I hope there's lots of screens going right now. I hope somebody's watching.
Right.
So radio went for a while. I went to lots of different cities. I'm giving you a long answer here. You
No.
told me it was an hour show. So
No,
like,
I try for the guests to keep it under an hour, but if you want to talk, you just go ahead and talk.
You'll never give me the show.
I'll just turn it off.
After radio, canned you, like they get bought out, they get flipped, stations, whatever happens. I said I wasn't going to leave Grand Rapids because when I moved to IOG in Saginaw, it was exactly what I thought Michigan was going to be. I hated it. It was blight. It was dirty. I'm like, this is what I thought Michigan was going to be.
Yeah.
And so far, it's like, whatever. Still, I bought a house, got married, and I thought, I'm going to try and do this.
This is my life.
It was paying well at that time.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, this is really good money.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do this. And then when they actually promoted me within a company, which is like never heard of in radio, and I came to Grand Rapids, it was like the Emerald City. It was like Dorothy. I was looking at going, there's a downtown, there's a skyline.
It's not so dirty.
People actually want to go to do things.
Right.
And it's such a good community, and it's so close to the lake. I was like, this isn't Michigan. I got drunk on the Kool-Aid. I wasn't going to leave Grand Rapids no matter what. So when that happened and they canned a bunch of people, including me, I was like, I'm staying.
So you went from the station in Saginaw, the same station here owned the station in Saginaw.
Right,
so
same
you
company.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. Which rarely happens in radio.
Yeah.
But yeah, they were looking for a morning guy here, and we enjoyed some good successes. I met some really good people.
Yeah.
But then I had a new baby. I literally came back from my honeymoon. I've just noticed that I've said literally a lot, so you slap me next time I say it.
Yeah, I know. That's a word that a lot of people say.
Yeah, I've said that's like 10 now.
Okay.
There's going to be a tick mark. You're going to go back and watch this.
Is that your crutch word?
Evidently. I didn't know it until now, but there's going to be like a shot game for me.
I'll honestly say I didn't notice it because I'm just enthralled in your story, but I do notice it when I listen to podcasts. I was like, if you say like one more time, I'm going to drive off the road.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, or if somebody asks a question and they go, so, they start with so. That always bothers me. Not the town came to me, and I love this. I came back from my honeymoon starting this gig in Grand Rapids. So here I am, place to live, new child. Great daughter, Grace, and married, and thinking this is going to be great. Making the best money I've ever made in my career.
So you're like at top of your game.
More money than I thought radio would even pay.
Right.
I was like, wow, this is really good. We're going to do well.
Yeah.
And then, of course, radio.
Yeah. See ya.
We're
moving in a different direction.
It happens no matter how good or bad you do. So.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
So let's just fast forward to now. Now you're working for Fox 17?
Yeah. I did a little stint with MLive in between as a journalist for a few years, and then
just as a writer?
Entertainment concierge was my actual title. That's what they created. Yeah, which I took as I get tips, right? But that's not how it turned out.
So you liked MC things?
I was basically for a good time call guy. I'm not kidding. That's what my job turned out to be. They had people who would cover the ballet and the symphony. They had people who would cover concerts, but they had nobody that was covering the events.
Like Movies on Monroe.
The charity, exactly.
Okay.
The things that you were going to bring your family to, the great things that you were going to do, the Irish on Ionias and all those types of things. Nobody was really covering those. So they created this position for me.
That's kind of fun.
It was a great job. Yeah. And I had a great time doing it. Plus, it was deadline based. So it wasn't punch the clock at 6 a.m. and do your, it was get this many stories done, cover this, right? Do your thing. So with a newborn daughter, who I'd been unemployed almost a lot of like 7-8 months of the first year or so of her life.
Okay.
So I was all in. I was waking up, diaper. We were spending every day together.
Right.
All day together. So to have that flexibility with this new job, there were days when I was 10 a.m. still in my PJs typing away in the stories. Somebody's taking a nap.
Hey.
It was a blessing to have that.
So what happened to MLive? I thought does MLive and the GR Press, do they own each other?
MLive is the digital version of Grand Rapids. They're the same company.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
It's the same thing.
So why did they lay all these people off? If they're a digital company, that's where everyone's going.
Well, because selling digital advertising, they're giving away their content. Okay?
Yeah.
They're giving it away.
Yeah, that's true.
You have subscriptions to the paper. You don't have a subscription to mlive.com. I mean, you can get one.
That's true.
But they're giving away the content and really relying on that digital ad revenue to come in to cover the loss of subscriptions. And I don't think they knew how much of a hit that was going to be.
Excuse me a second.
Oh, that's fine. I should probably check mine. I don't even know where my phone is.
No, Brutus is down here, and I was asked
hey, Brutus.
Megan to grab Brutus. Not that it's the end of the
Brutus
world.
has been on the show before, right?
He has, but he gets caught in the cords, and that's the biggest problem.
You're good, Brutus.
Yeah, she's coming down to grab him.
Okay.
But yeah, it's disappointing because I love MLive stuff.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where that's where I get my news anymore. I don't read. Rudy, Brutus, just tell me you're gonna give him a TRE.
You can't say. You have to spell it like a child. You have to spell the word.
You want? Hey. He knows what's happening. You say he ignored her. Thanks, babe.
Hi, Brutus. I love you. Oh, he's not happy.
No, he's not. Yeah, so I really, that's where I get my news. I don't read the paper anymore.
Right,
So MLive is, but you know what? I don't, and I get off this, but the comments on those, it's insane.
It's a full-time job. They have Zane. I think Zane McMillan was his name when I was there, and it was his full-time job was to moderate social media.
It's so gross.
It is.
I mean, no.
Well, especially when you can be anonymous.
Right.
And you can be anonymous there.
Zane does a new thing now where he says how many comments before someone mentions Trump. If it's like either it's for or against, it's kind of a funny thing.
It's going to come up.
Ugh, I can't imagine that. So
yeah, social media's become a testy place.
Right.
Testy place.
I don't really use it much other than for the brands I have. Other than that, I don't really do anything.
I used to do a lot more than I do now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of just it's not that important. People don't need to know everything I'm doing.
No,
they really don't.
Yeah,
so
it's changed so much. So you get married, you have Grace, and then things don't work out. I've divorced too, so it happens. What inspired you to start the daddy-daughter time organization?
That would be it. To be, and I'm glad you asked, and thank you for the opportunity to talk about the organization.
For sure.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be able to. I'm not kidding. I love any platform I can get to tell people about this nonprofit. It really was a time in my life when, let's just say, I wasn't prepared to be divorced.
Mm-hmm.
So when that happened, I had to quickly understand I'm going to be a single father. Now, the first thing that happens when you find out you're going to be divorced, if that's how it happens to you, I mean, sometimes it's mutual, sometimes it's not. But when it's not, and you find out that's happening to you, you immediately go through the grief of numerous things. Mm-hmm. The grief of a failed relationship, the grief of a lost partnership. For me, those things had been tumultuous for a long time. So for me, the grief that hit me was the grief of the loss of my daughter.
Yeah.
It was really, honestly, was the driving force behind any grief that went around that whole situation. I thought I was going to see her every morning. Mm-hmm. I was gonna take her to school. We were gonna do homework together. I was gonna teach her. How am I gonna do that?
Yeah.
When she's not here. And so that was a process for me to go through to realize that I wasn't going to be part of her life every day, and that was a really hard thing for me to fathom. Mm-hmm. But I think what I'm good at is taking any type of negative situation and internalizing it. How can I make it positive and externalizing that? That's what I try to do with anything negative that enters my life is how can I turn this into something good? I mean, I'm not going to sit here and rot my gut crying about how this happened.
Yeah.
So, when I went online to find out information about single parenting and single fatherhood, there is a lot of great information for dads online. Fatherhood.gov, there's many different sites that'll help you be a good father if you're going to be a single dad. So that was covered. All right, good. I got some advice.
Right.
I got some good dad tips over here. That's good. And then what about us going out and doing things together? Okay, I'm going to see her on these weekends. We're still working out the custody. What is it going to be? What is it not going to be? But I know it's not going to be full time. So, so what are we going to do when we're together? How can I, make things fun? So I looked for events. My past. I was the entertainment concierge.
Yeah.
I'm always like, what can we go out and do?
Right.
What can we have fun? And of course, there's plenty of home stuff we can do.
Yeah.
But I was looking for both.
Yeah.
I wanted to spend quality time alone at home, but I wanted to take her out and have a good time. And I just noticed that there is so much mommy and me stuff. Now, I say that, and somebody watching might think, oh, He-Man Woman Haters Club. Mm-hmm. And that's not the case at all.
Yeah.
For me personally and for the organization, which is really an extension of myself,
right, is
we want every single kid to have two loving, active, and involved parents. Okay, and if they have step parents, them too. Okay,
right.
That's what we want. But when it comes to options for dads, there just wasn't a lot of that. You had your school dance, right? And
so I cannot wait till the school dance is done.
Daddy-daughter dance.
I got one more, and she wants to go do hang with her friends.
Right.
So this is what I do. I go there. I sit down. She dances with her friends. The slow songs come on. We do our dance, and then that's it. But I have one more year of that.
There's like a checklist.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's fine. I mean, some daughters in there you can see them. They are in love with their dads, but my daughter's independent and she wants to do her own thing.
Sure.
So,
yeah. And that's good.
Yeah.
I mean, but you being there means
right.
something. You
yeah,
being
for
there
sure.
means something.
Yeah.
The process before and after the fact that you took her.
Yeah.
Because, when she's 30 and looking back,
yes.
you did that. You took the time out of your day to drive her there, sit in the corner like a little wallflower. That you just described my high school prom for me. Thanks for that.
Me too.
That's pretty much how it was for me. I was like, oh, everybody's dancing. I'll sit over here and sip some punch.
Right.
But we want there to be two. I mean, this isn't an anti-woman club. This is a pro-dad club. This is we want to give fathers more options, more advice, more encouragement to be active and involved in a young girl's life. That is the end goal mission.
Right.
And it came out of a gut feeling. But it's not a gut feeling anymore. And that's what I really hope your listeners hear.
Yeah.
That it isn't just some guys, oh, aren't they good dads? Aren't they big? That may be true, but what that means, that active and involved parenting, is scientifically proven now. Okay, and you say, oh, yeah, like, of course, it's a given. They weren't even doing the research until the 80s.
Right. I say that, but I know it.
I mean, it's shocking to me. I'm like, I'm going to find I'm going to go dig. I'm going to go to the libraries. I'm going to go to the Google. I'm going to find some stats on, because people wanted to, say you should turn a nonprofit. And because we were an LLC.
Okay.
And I'm like, I'm going to turn a nonprofit. I need some data on why this is important beyond what I think it is.
Yeah.
And when learning that they hadn't even started studying the effects of fatherhood on their kids until the 80s, I was like, my goodness.
Yeah.
I mean, we were stuck in the 50s Mad Men thing.
Yeah.
You were a protector. You were a paycheck.
Yeah,
okay?
You just worked. You came home. Dinner was on the table.
Right.
And
she took care of the house and the kids. I mean, and the lines were so crystal clear, right? So they didn't even think to do a study on the effect of fatherhood on kids because he's not with the kids.
Right.
He's out with the boys on the golf course after a hard day at work or whatever, throw back some scotch or whatever that was,
Smoking in the delivery room.
Right, I have no idea. They didn't even let him in the delivery room.
Oh, really?
They didn't even let my dad in the delivery room. You weren't even allowed. Yeah, it was a really weird time, right?
Is a weird
you
time.
can't think of that now that you're not going to be present for the birth of your child, but they wouldn't even let the man in there.
That's absurd.
So, and that absurdity there, that feeling that you just said, that reaction is what we're hoping more people say when they're like, what are you talking about? There's not more done on the effects of fatherhood. But now we're at a time when it really is taken off. And what they found was that, so now you got 30 years of study, almost 40 years of study. So now you know the effects. These young girls have grown up. They did a whole bunch of people, Boston College, Family College, and others, found that an active and involved father lowered teen pregnancy rates.
Yeah.
Okay. It lowered jail time. It lowered drug use. It lowered school dropout. It raised self-esteem. It raised body image. It raised vocabulary. It raised pretty much all the things that you want to go this way up. And there wasn't one exception. All the things that wanted to go down, down.
Okay.
So when I saw that study, I printed that sucker and bookmarked that site and said, I'm going to live off this Bible.
Yeah.
Because this has got some real data to it. And I read a bunch of boring case study this, but I wanted to really know.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's science. If you put the time into her, you're not just doing something good for yourself, but
Right.
even though you are,
Yeah.
because there is an effect on you as a. That's another thing we can get into is what the effect of fatherhood has on men.
Yeah.
I mean, what it does physically and psychologically change you. You are altered when you become a father. They say it's a life-changing experience. It literally, there's the word, but I used it right. But I used it right.
That's properly.
It is a life-changing experience for a parent, for women and men.
Yeah.
It physically and psychologically changes your body, and that's true for men. So when you have that behind you and you think, okay, I've got a lot of data here, I think a nonprofit's the right way to go.
Okay.
I mean, this is something that I think people should get behind, because there's, you don't have to think this is just us wanting to be great dads.
Right.
This is something that is
Well, you're passionate
proven
about it.
And it's something that's going to be good for Grace.
Yeah.
I know that the more active and involved I am in her life, these positive things could happen for her. They're not guaranteed.
Right.
But they sure aren't going to, if I'm not going to be there at all.
Right.
That's
Right.
not going to happen.
So one thing I wanted to bring up, and I may have seen this on your personal page, you had working on fathers' rights, and, and maybe I'm wrong, but I saw that it was a while back. But I remember you posting something.
Yeah.
What was that about? In the court system, is that what you were trying to push?
Yeah, obviously with my history of really battling and paying through the nose through family court just to get the time that I got.
Yeah.
Which was still not 50-50, but there's a long, like I said, there's a long distance here.
Yeah.
Between me and my ex. So the nonprofit itself isn't a part of this,
Correct,
but something that we do believe in, and
Yeah.
that is the Americas for Equal and Shared Parenting, and it's an organization that has a pretty simple mission, and some states have passed it already. Michigan, it didn't get out of committee last year.
Okay.
But when you get divorced and you're a dad and you're in family court because you and your ex can't agree on how much time you get with the kids,
Yep.
I think most men would agree that when you walk into that courtroom, you are behind the eight ball.
Yep.
You automatically think, okay, I'm going to get every other weekend, maybe Wednesdays 2 weeks in the summer. That seems to be what
Standard.
the court has approved as. That's an uncle. Okay,
Yeah.
that's a visitor. Is what
Yeah.
that is. You are not active and involved in her life in a way that is meaningful with that amount of time.
Nope.
And so, what they're trying to pass, and it seems so simple, and we get there's such crazy blowback on it that I don't quite get, is for a judge or the referee or whoever you're talking to to legally have to start at 50-50. If you have to pass a couple of things. You have two active and involved parents that are fit. They're not drug addicts. They're not alcoholics. They're not beating their child.
Right.
Okay. They are fit and willing parents that both want to parent this child. You've got that. Start at 50-50.
Okay.
Okay. And if you're not going to do 50-50 because of whatever, because of distance in my case or whatever it is, then you write a ruling. You don't just rubber stamp. How it works now is you go in and you try to fight and prove that you're not evil, that you're not, and you can face all sorts of slander and libel, and you can straight up, what do they call that when you lie under oath? I mean, perjury.
Perjury.
You can face any of that.
Yeah.
And many men do.
Yep.
And so and you're just trying to get more time with a reasonable, decent amount of time with your kids. So this organization fights for that legislation to pass, and they've gotten a few states to automatically do that. And so that was something that I felt pretty passionate about. I got a chance to go to Lansing, was ready to speak. They ran out of time, but many of people that I know did get a chance to speak.
Okay.
And I think it's a really good cause. It just makes common sense to me that if you have that, they're not getting along, they're not being able to work it out themselves. Start here and then rule it out. Because what'll happen now is you'll go in there, and that's the rubber stamp will happen. They'll figure it out with the referee, and whatever the referee says, the judge is going to say, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the you're not even going to see a judge.
Yeah.
You're going to see a referee, friend of the court. They're going to figure it out. The judge is going to be like, yeah, it looks good to me. Boom, 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 boom. So to be able to at least not feel like you're behind an eight ball when you walk in the door saying, okay, we're going to start at 50-50 and let's hash this out.
Yeah.
It's going to save a lot of time. It's going to save a lot of money. So obviously they're not for that.
Right.
Family court banks. I don't know. They make bank.
Yeah.
And there's really not a lot of regulation on that. So they don't have a strong desire to change the system that is really raking in hundreds of millions of dollars. They don't want to change that.
Yeah, I can relate on a little bit because I was divorced. It was a terrible divorce. We fought a lot. After about 2 years, I said, this isn't worth it anymore, so I stopped fighting. But I would always have the winters off because I'm a seasonal worker, and I tried to go in there and get more time I went to a judge, and I'm not going to name the judge, but nothing. Like, I was like, I want him more time. I'm off in the winters. I can spend more time with him, and they would not budge. And they're like, we're not going to change it unless the situation has changed. Yeah. I said, yeah, it's changed. I'm home in the winter. I can spend more time with them. Nope, not going to do it.
Yeah, that's why I invested the crazy amount of money that I begged, borrowed, and stole. I didn't steal any to get to where I am.
Yeah,
because I knew that once something is set like that,
it's hard to reverse it.
Unless somebody's beaten the children, or is arrested, or is a drug addict, or something happens extreme that could harm the child. That's the bass-ackwards thing about it.
Yeah,
is the only way they're going to change that is if something could be in the situation that could harm the child.
Yep.
But if something changes where the situation could help the child,
positive.
there's no consideration at all.
Well, I think the problem is there's so many deadbeat dads that this is the standard.
Exactly.
And if you don't, like, oh, this is all you want. And I wanted to relate back to the part where you talked about getting divorced, and then we'll jump back into daddy-daughter. But it was tough. I walked out that door, and I instantly knew I was a part-time dad. Mm-hmm. Like, it's that second. I mean, it's not like you work into it. It's just like, burp, and every other weekend, and it was tough. It was tough to do that. And I don't know how your divorce went, but as far as it was, I know I screwed him up a little bit. I know he internalizes stuff because of that. And if anything I can say to people, I know everyone says it, but try not to put the kid involved.
Don't.
It's just not worth it. I met my beautiful wife, Megan, and she brought me down a little bit, and she was like, hey, let's take the high road.
Yeah.
And I was like, I would get angry because she would take him away from me and blah, blah, blah.
The high road is a hard place, but in the end, it's going to be better for your kids.
Yeah.
When they get old enough to realize what happened.
Yes.
And when they look back, when they're old enough to make up their own mind about who their parents were, they'll be able to decide for themselves, who did what.
It's tough to take the high road.
But boy, it sucks.
It's so hard.
Nobody wants to. It's hard, and it's arduous, and it's long, and and there's no guaranteed payoff here. No, there's none of that. But just there is something to be said for knowing that your heart's in the right place. There's something to be said for, and not to get too religious about it, but there's something to be said that
we'll talk about that.
Yeah, somebody knows. Okay, there's going to be a day of reckoning for all of us.
Yeah,
so do what's best in your heart.
Yeah, that's tough. So.
Yeah, it's not easy. Parenting. Who knew?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, I'm so spread out. I have a 22-year-old, and then I have an 11-year-old and a 9-year-old. So it's like I got quite the gamut.
You've got completely different worlds.
Yeah. I got one that's graduating next month he's going to be an airplane mechanic. So he's going to be on like his own job and making good money. And then I'm raising these little ones too. And it's just like, he's a good kid though. As much as I feel that he's going to need some therapy because he internalizes everything, he's still a good kid. He stayed away from alcohol. He stayed away from drugs. He wants to fix airplanes. He's got his eye on the prize. So good. I got to, and his mom helped too. I can't completely do that. I mean, surprisingly enough is how bad it was. He's living with her right now. So because I have curfews, you know what I mean? It's kind of like, if you come here, I know you're 22, but you got to be home at a certain time because I don't want to worry about you.
Right.
So, but anyways, so back to daddy-daughter time. So it's about what, 3 years in? 4 years?
We are officially going on 6.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, as a nonprofit, going on 3.
Okay.
But when it started, I was like, how can I do something that is going to what I'd mentioned before? There weren't a lot of options for dads to spend time with young girls. Okay, so what am I going to do about it? I had a side, still making okay money. Okay, working for the press.
Yeah,
wasn't too much of a pay cut. but I had a side gig, and I was doing social media work for another nonprofit, and I was making a few $100 there a month.
Oh, they were paying you to do the social media?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I was like, hey, listen, I do social media. I'm pretty active in it. Let me carry your brand for you and build your base.
Nice.
and interact with your audience. And so I was doing that, and I basically just taking all of the money that I made from them and putting it into this.
Okay.
So that way I have my main salary, but my gravy money is going to go towards this. Okay.
Yeah.
And so doing that was, I think I held an ice cream social is what I did.
Okay.
At Jersey Junction. My friend Elias Olivares owns the joint, and he gave me a great deal on the ice cream.
Jersey Junction, is that?
East Grand Rapids.
Yeah, East Grand Rapids, yep.
Cool little joint, right? It
Yeah.
has the train going through it and the old school candy and the waffle cones are being made right there, so it smells great. And
I've never been there, but
yeah, it's
that
really
sounds
cool.
amazing.
The guy who used to own it, or his mom, the mom of the guy who wrote Polar Express, the Van Allsburg family.
Oh.
So the guy who wrote Polar Express, his mother owned that
for
years and years and years back in the day. And so with that train that you see in there, you'll see a lot of Polar Express stuff in there.
Okay.
It's pretty cool. You knew Polar was local, right?
Yeah, I did know that. Yeah.
Sorry. Everyone knows that. So, I thought I'll just invite people out to an ice cream social. If there are dads and daughters that want some free ice cream, because that's what I'm doing, I'm passing out free ice cream, that'll draw some people.
Yeah.
And like 30 people showed up.
Wow, that's huge for your first thing.
Right. I'm like, cool. I had like a 10, 15 dads show up with their kids, their daughters. And, something really cool happened at that event that kind of inspired me to go, I'm going to do this again. And there was a dad sitting next to another dad, small little ice cream shop table, and he asked, I overhear him, hey, did you braid her hair? Like, did you do that? And the dad actually said yes, which surprised me.
Yeah.
Right? I was like, he said, yeah, I did that. He goes, hey, you're going to have to show me how to do that. These guys don't know each other.
Wow.
And here they are bonding over their kids. Because as men, we suck at that.
Yeah.
I mean, we suck at bonding over our kids.
Yeah.
You meet another guy you don't know, your conversation is going to go to, what do you do for a living?
Yep.
And are you Sparty or Blue? Okay. It's really, or God forbid, a Buckeye. I mean, right. So you're going to go over sports, or you're going to go over this, or whatever stereotypical masculine thing that you're going to bond over. But you're not going to go to another guy who has kids when you have kids and go like, where'd you get that dress for her? Which I have actually done at certain things, but maybe I'm an exception where I'm like, hey, it was a mother. And I was like, you're going to have to tell me where you got that outfit because I want that on my daughter. And so that's why I was shocked at that happening.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I have to do this again. This is not only good for the girls to spend time together. And I didn't know about the data or the science, any of that stuff yet. I was just like, I want dads to
inspiring.
I want dads to have more options to do things with their girls. So I'm going to do this. So about every quarter, we do some events. And then more, people started. I mean, obviously, people started showing up because it was free.
Yeah,
everything was free.
Right.
You just showed up, and free stuff happened for you. And I thought that's really great because I didn't want there to be any barrier between anybody and their daughter. I didn't want them to be like, "Well, I'd love to go out and spend time, but I don't have $20 a head to do that."
Especially in Dutch West Michigan, you say free, and like everyone's like,
so I shouldn't be surprised that they showed up for the ice cream social.
I just think 30 is quite a bit.
I'm pretty sure it was about that many. It's like I said, 6 years ago.
Yeah.
But so it just grew, and then as an LLC, I really fought this, but started to sell tickets, for a small cost. So now I'm selling things for like $5, so I can just bring something in because more and more people are showing up.
Yeah,
and that stipend that I'm getting from the other nonprofit on my side gig isn't covering it.
Right,
and I'm like, okay, this is going to hurt. Yeah. I really got to start making this happen as a business. And that's when the ideas of the memberships came in. We tried the Netflix monthly thing for a while, where you can just buy it month to month, and that was just a nightmare.
Well, yeah, because people quit, and then all of a sudden you got no money.
Right.
The once a year is the way to go.
Yeah, so we went through an annual, and after I got that data I told you about, and other scientific research about the effects of just being a dad and how important it is and what it can do to you, I decided, this is definitely a nonprofit. I think the really crux moment for our organization was a lunch with Kathy Bissell. Kathy Bissell from Bissell Incorporated, the Bissell Pet Foundation. I knew her because I had interviewed her through the M Live gig. Yeah, I'd gone over to her house, talked to her dogs. We were doing a story on the big pet thing that they do, and now they're doing the empty the shelters events and stuff like that. But I knew that she had a heart for she had this big pet foundation. So maybe I can get some advice from her.
On how to start it.
The fact that she even took my call
is amazing.
I was just like, wow, she's going to have lunch with me.
Yeah.
So I went and had lunch with her, and I explained should I become a nonprofit or should I do this? Should I I really don't know what to do. This
right.
is, I wanted to just get advice. Maybe it was me being naive. I had no idea she was going to cut me a check, like on the spot, cut me a check. The biggest check that I think to date that our organization has ever received.
Really? Just like right there?
Right there. And I was blown away, and I immediately stretched every dime of that check to the next year.
Wow.
I made that thing work for me.
That's great.
Making deals. I came back to her the next year and she did it again. Not as much, but she still more than anybody else was donating to this organization. And I should say business. It was still an LLC.
Yeah.
So here she is, not getting the tax break on it.
Oh wait, so she was giving that money for an LLC?
Giving that money to an LLC. So,
wow.
If it was me,
I'd be like,
if this organization goes where I hope it goes, there will be a plaque or a statue or something of Kathy Bissell included in this, because it was her heart and her generosity that happened, that made us happen. It was funny because the third year she said, "You're going to have to become a nonprofit, or I'm going to have to explain why I'm writing checks to somebody."
Yeah, it only goes so far where you're like, okay, red flags.
Like, why are you just doing this? But no, she's just an angel of a person to me.
Yeah.
She's an amazing individual, and her heart, the heart that she has for dogs is like the passion that I have for daughters.
Yeah,
it's amazing. We live that. So yeah, I definitely wanted her support. I became a nonprofit. We got a board together, and I did the whole nonprofit for dummies route. I had no idea, but I got a good nonprofit lawyer and helped me through it, and now here we are 3 years later with a good model.
Yep.
Still getting some funding from Bissell. Still getting some funding. Lax Enterprises gives us a bit too.
Okay.
Those are our two main corporate sponsors.
Okay.
And still able to keep the memberships super low. There's still really no excuse for a dad. Almost anybody can afford.
So, and unless I went to, it's $100 still, right?
For a year.
Yeah, and so I did experience it, and it was amazing. These events, I always go there. I'm like, you are spending way more than what this costs, because it ends up to being like what, $8 an event, or
pretty much
for each person.
No, $8 total.
Oh, was it?
$4 a head.
Okay, yeah,
yeah.
Yeah, we went to Craig's Cruisers, and like we've done some great events. Where do you see daddy daughter in like 5 years? Like what would your in 5 years from now would be like?
My dream?
Would it be
my job?
You want to be your full-time job?
Absolutely.
Well, that makes sense.
I love working. I don't get me wrong. I got my Fox 17 coffee mug here. Okay,
right.
I love my job. I love the people I work with. If I had a choice to do that job or get paid the same or more to do this passion, I would follow my passion. It's a no-brainer. It's one of those deals where like I love what I do, but I love who I am.
Yeah.
And if I could do who I am, does that sound good? That didn't sound good. You know what I'm saying? If I could put into practice who I am as a person and make that my livelihood, that would be. I'd feel like a major leaguer. Well, I'd be like, wow, I get to do what I love for a living.
Yeah, that's the idea. That's the American dream. Do something that you love to do. That's not work.
Yeah.
And
it's not work because I put everything into this. You should see my basement.
Really?
It's taken over. Yeah, I don't have much storage. Oh. So, I absolutely love it. And it takes all of the things that I'm good at and kind of puts them together. I do event planning. I did that for a long time. Where I talked about events and knew all these people from my other jobs. Mm-hmm. Talking in front of people,
no problem.
Not a problem. Coming up with creative, wacky names for things. Morning show radio guy, not a problem. And then being a dad and showing others, hey, listen, this is important.
Yeah.
Nobody's perfect. We're not out here boasting about how great we are. We're imperfect as any other parent.
Yeah.
But the fact that you take the time every month to carve out time just one-on-one, that's intentional, by the way.
Yeah.
There were times when a lot of moms were like, hey, can we go? And it breaks my heart.
I know, I bet.
It breaks my heart to say, of course we would love you there, but you can't come, okay? Because there needs to be one option for her, okay? It needs to be him.
Yeah.
At some point, there needs to be a time when she wants to turn to somebody or talk to somebody or do something with somebody, and she needs one option, okay? It needs to be him because he needs to build that communication. He needs to build that bond to where if they don't talk to you when they're 4, good luck when they're 14.
Right.
Start young, build those memories, those happy times that you had together, the cool things that you did, so she feels comfortable approaching you. I use the word approach, and that brings up another topic. That's okay? I've probably gone well over an hour.
No, you're actually not.
Okay. We started a program called Dad Up. And the Dad Up program is just me and the board getting together saying, what's important in being a dad? Mm-hmm. Okay? So I love acronyms. I love wordplay. Man up, dad up, right?
Yep.
So we did the DADUP is what it ended up being. And so at each one of our events, dads get our Dad Up card that is going to encourage them in one of these 5 traits, the DADUP, right? And I'll get to those. And then every Friday, there's an email now that's being sent out. Same thing, has dad advice, has some tips on fatherhood. We're not preaching at you. We're just saying, hey, here's some great resources. These are some cool stories. Hey, did Tom Brady push his daughter off a cliff? We'll talk about that, all that jazz.
Yeah.
So, and if you don't know that story, Google it. It's insane.
I didn't see it, but
I did.
I heard someone talking about it.
I did. And it'll be my next blog. And I don't blog that much, but I'm blogging about kids in risk will be my next one.
Okay.
Because I currently have an almost 3-year-old in a full leg cast. So,
oh wow!
So I'll be dealing with that. Yeah, Daphne's a terror. She's great. But Dad Up is dependable, approachable, devoted, understanding, and patient. And understanding and patience, 2 different things.
Right.
Right. So those 5 traits, we make sure that we encourage our dads every month to work that into their daily parenting.
Okay.
And that's as far as the preachiness of our organization gets. That's it. We hand you a card. We send you an email saying, this is just a resource for you. If you needed a word to say, you know what, you're important.
Right.
Okay. Who you are to her, it could be a make or break for her.
Yeah.
So do the best you can. Do the very best you can as a father.
I feel like if they make it out to the event and don't do anything in the Dad Up, at least they're doing that.
They're there.
So that's connection.
That's the win.
Right.
Even if they're just coming out to say, hey, this was a good deal for a good time. Super.
Whatever.
Come out and have a great time.
Yeah.
Come out. That's kind of half the battle.
Right.
For breaking the ice between you and a 6-year-old maybe, or you and a 9-year-old. That's our wheelhouse right now. Doing the demographics. We're 5 to 9.
Yeah, I feel like when Avery and I went there, she was really old. I mean, she's 11 now, and it's been about a year.
We have a good spike of 11-year-olds, actually.
Oh, really?
When I was doing the data.
Okay.
Yeah, so I could say 5 to 11, but there's this big dip in 10. But 11's right back up there.
Oh, well, that's good.
Yeah, that's pretty neat.
So you talked about a little bit of failure and not perfect. What is, and we always talk about this on our podcast, what's the biggest flop at a daddy-daughter event where you were like, oh, no. Oh, no. It's falling apart. I mean,
I don't know. Grace, has there ever been a daddy-daughter event that completely flopped? There been ever one that was just, oh, by the way, Grace is watching this, for those of you who didn't know. Can't think of one, can you? See,
you
that'd
put
be
her
great.
on the spot.
I did.
All right, moving on.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that to you. No, you're putting me on the spot because, honestly, if I was to think of one that didn't go well, in my mind, I know there was 1 or 2 that I wasn't happy with, and I can't remember them. Maybe it's just because I have very good selective memory of. I'm one of those people who has a very hard time remembering when things happened.
I do too.
Because I'm always thinking about.
You're always ahead. You're always. What are you doing
next? It's like that jet ski thing.
Yeah.
Because it drives my wife crazy. By the way, remarried and had another daughter.
Yeah.
Good for my second wife, keeping it right in the wheelhouse. I said, thank you for giving me another daughter. And she goes, it's really up, genetically, it's up to you. So. Yeah. Well, then I knew what I was doing. See? I'm a smart guy. Married you and had a daughter. But I know there have been a couple. I tell you, when you're doing these things, we're such a small organization that before I had a board, and when I say a board, I mean volunteers.
Oh,
I mean, the people who are on my board, there's 2 or 3 of them that are just basically, they just come out and they bust hump at an event to help out. When they can. Yep. Our board meetings are pretty short and sweet and infrequent because we're just busy people. And this isn't your official multi-million
it's a working board.
Yeah, so I would say for sure.
Yeah.
It's a working board. And so before that happened, there were many times when I was just, when I wouldn't say the event failed, but I bit off way more than I could chew on my own. Like, I couldn't get it all. I couldn't get the social media, the photography, the balloons, the this, the that, all the things done, and running around literally sweating. I remember the first, because we ended up adding a dance. We didn't do it right away, but in the third year, we were like, okay, we should probably have a dance too.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of a staple for daddy-daughter.
Right. So we did a spring fling, and I remember setting that up. and just thinking, I just spent all this time putting out fires, this happened, that happened, late registration, all the things that happen with event planning and the setup, and I had help. I had I had my wife, and I had a couple of people that were helping me set up, but the load was enough for 7 or 8, and we had 3, and so I remember thinking that was a failure because I never bonded, never talked to anybody.
Yeah.
All I did was run from one thing to the next.
You're just putting out fires.
Yeah, and what I really want to do is I want to see what's happening. I want to be able to read how these things are affecting the people that are there.
Yeah, you want to go back to the ice cream spot where that first day you heard that dad
I want to be able to watch that and see that happen. Because what a lot of these guys didn't know, when they went to that ice cream social and the next few events, that was almost more for me. It really was than it was for those dads.
Right.
Because it was like, I don't get to see my girl every day. I don't get to hug her and kiss her every day anymore.
Yeah.
That doesn't get to happen for me.
Right.
And that is killing me.
Right.
So here's the cool thing. I get to watch all of you do it. You're my therapy.
Right.
You don't even know it. You guys don't even know you're my therapy.
That's great.
Because they were just like, because I got to see something really beautiful happen. And that's why we still, I'm always making up these stupid things, but they stick sometimes.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, okay, there are going to be 2 rules of each one of our events. They've held true for the past 72 months, right? 70 plus events that we've done.
Right.
And you know the rules. The first rule is if any dad sees this and thinks it's a good thing, they have to tell another dad. That's it. You know another dad with a daughter. You know he can afford this, and if not, gift him. And get him here. Help him too.
Right.
And then the only rule that I have for the daughters, which still holds true, is at the beginning of the event, when I'm addressing everybody, find your dad, hug him and kiss him, and tell him you love him.
Yep.
That is it.
Yeah.
And I get to see all this awesome. I won't get reclamped on your podcast. I'm gonna get a little teary, but I get to see all of this awesome love getting shared, and it's the best feeling. It's my most favorite part of any event we have because I get to see that happen, and I'm like, this is so good.
That's amazing.
That is so good to see. So that's kind of the payoff for me.
Yeah,
is I'm like, cool, and I hope that this really does help a lot of dads and daughters.
I think it will. I mean, it's not, and it's not that big of a commitment either. You're talking like a 3-hour event once a month. I mean,
if that,
yeah.
And it is one of those deals where you don't make this one, there's one next month.
Yeah,
you're still getting that email every Friday.
Right.
You're still getting that card if you show up. You reach out. I mean, the funny thing is I think some of these dads have been in this 3 or 4 years now, and have met other dads that they didn't know, and have watched each other's daughters grow up.
Yeah.
And it's weird. Because for me, it's weird.
Yeah.
Some of these girls are coming, and they're like 9, and I remember when they were 4.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is nuts.
It is kind of bizarre.
To watch them grow up. So I love it, and I'd love to see it grow. I'd love begging for any type of support that we can get. I mean, if there was a hat out, I would have it out all the time.
Yeah.
And we have this thing on our site that never took off. It's still there, where you can put a monthly recurring donation of whatever you want on there.
Yeah.
I don't know how to do that stuff. I'm not a director of development as good at, I mean,
right.
I try to be. I try to grow us, and I hope to God, I pray to God that I'll be able to find a way to continue.
Well, you
this.
need to get someone on your board that does that.
Right. Yeah.
I'm on a committee for another organization I volunteer for, and they're like, we need a fundraiser person. I'm like, that's not me, but I understand you need somebody to kind of hustle.
There needs to be a new president of our board, and I'm the president of the board.
Yeah.
And I'm saying there probably needs to be a new president of the board. There needs to be somebody who has more nonprofit experience doing this and building this board development thing.
Yeah.
Because honestly, still carrying a lot of the load here.
Yeah.
Lots to do with the web, and the last event, I'm photogging it myself.
Oh.
So I'm doing a lot, carrying a lot of different things. But again, when you love what you're doing, it doesn't feel like work to me.
But that brings up a good question. How can you spend time with Grace when you're, I mean, you're going to have to notch out some other time other than that, because you're working.
Right. Yeah. At these events, we get to go do it. And I have her the entire summer minus a week and a weekend.
Oh,
okay.
amazing.
So this is amazing for me. This is my time.
Yeah.
This is my bonding time. We grow closer together. We get to really connect and talk and sit around the fire pit. And
Well, I appreciate you taking time then.
No, but she wanted to. Well, she was even playing with the neighbors on the trampoline. I'm like, "Are you sure you want to go?" It was a couple of dudes in a room with microphones.
Right.
She was like, "Yeah, I want to go."
I'm like,
so
okay.
I'm super thrilled that she's here.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that she's here. But I'm sorry, I lost your question.
Just not being able to spend time with her at
sure.
the event
Yeah.
that you create, this awesome event that you created.
A lot of times and she asked me this the other day, I think about a month ago, about why we don't get to do daddy-daughter events together. Because I schedule them when she's not here. You know, a lot of times I'll schedule these events purposefully around when she's not here.
Yeah, it kind of makes sense.
Because I'm gonna be working.
Well,
and over the summer I'll do some when she's here.
Yeah.
Because we're together for weeks at a time.
Yeah.
But during the school year, when I have a weekend, there's never a daddy-daughter event on a weekend when she's here. Because I'm gonna see her like maybe 2-3 days that month. I'm not gonna be out doing that.
Well, yeah, everyone thinks, pull the curtains back even for our podcast, you see this, you think, well, there's a lot of work on the back end. So your 3-hour event, you may have worked 4 hours before that, and then 2 days before that you were putting in time. So it's not just like you just show up and
Dude, we're designing the logos for each event. We're ordering this because we have these cool things called Dad Venture passports now. Something else that I dreamt up, right? So it's this little passport booklet.
Okay.
That has like what we do, favorite thing my dad did, place for a photo or a drawing, a little place for a stamp, so you can get your Dad Venture passport stamped. So you have a physical thing, a little journal of what you did with your dad. That you can use this with our events, with any of it, whatever you want to do. We got loads of these things. We have a whole bunch of those printed up. So there's always something that I'm doing, and there's probably more that I should be doing.
Yeah.
But when it comes to time with her, I don't let this get in the way of that. She wants to go.
Well, yeah, of course.
On some of these,
she sees you planning all that stuff, and you're like, I want to do this.
The cool thing is like the tchotchkes and the fun stuff and the crafts that we have that are left over that don't get used. She gets all that stuff. Yeah. So we do that stuff too.
That's amazing.
No, but you're right. We've had that thought, or that thought and that conversation about it.
Okay.
I talked to her about it. We're pretty on the up and up, bluntly honest with each other.
That's good.
Yeah.
I could tell that when she sat down. So
yeah, she doesn't pull any punches.
Right.
Yeah.
So real quick, one other thing we talk about, and you can talk about it or not, we talk about mental health and faith.
Sure.
Mental health is a big part of my life. I'm currently in therapy. It's been super helpful. Ben has been in therapy too, and it's just one thing that we peer pressure people into doing. Now, sorry, I didn't mean to spit take there. That's kind of our MO is we peer pressure.
I got coffee all over you there.
Yeah, I know. I was like, oh, there goes a microphone. Not seriously, but we're like, hey, I can say it's super helpful for me, and I've grown so much in the last 5 years. You need to do it. So is that something that you just seem so happy, and again, that doesn't mean that you're not depressed or anything like that.
I get it. Yeah.
During your divorce, did you ever seek
Absolutely.
Did you?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. When I was going through this custody battle, I was spending some quality time on a couch.
Yeah.
Or a big comfy chair.
Or whatever.
Whatever it is.
Yeah.
And absolutely I was. There are certain things that I didn't know what a panic attack was until I had one.
Interesting.
I've heard the term.
Yeah, so have I. I don't know what it is really either. I mean,
that's happened to me. And ever since that's happened to me, certain things, it's like breaking the seal, now you got to pee all the time. It's like once that's happened to you, certain things will trigger, and I'll feel I know what's coming. And it was one of the most ridiculous. My wife thought she lost me. Janet I was almost a bit catatonic. I wasn't coming out of where I was, and I still remember the physical feeling of what happened to my body.
Mm-hmm.
And that was just part of the custody battle. Then it's something that happened that affected me greatly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I spent a lot of time talking to a therapist, and I completely condone therapy. Do I go regularly? No.
Yeah.
And and should I? Probably. A lot of us should. A lot of times I find myself talking circles with therapists because I'm pretty quick-witted.
Yeah, you are.
And pretty fast on the 3 steps down thing.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that you said that I'm happy, because a lot of people do find me a positive person, but I would say that is something that just is taking something negative and turning it into something positive.
That's a great attitude.
I don't think my positivity comes from a positive place. I think my positivity,
you're working through a process.
They come from bad things that I'm going through. I'm not going to let that affect how I treat other people.
But see, that's amazing because that's what I struggle with. I let it affect me, and then I'm like, oh, I got to go say I'm sorry because I was, I mouthed off. That's my problem is my mouth. I'm like, right away, reaction. Instead of like processing it. So
I can tell you that this divorce has taught. I'm very good at conflict resolution now.
No, wow.
Pretty good at it now. Maybe I'm just beaten down to where I'm like, it's not worth it.
Yeah.
Let's get to the root of things and then just talk it out. We could go through the whole crazy fight thing, but I'm not too old.
I did that and got the T-shirt. It's not worth it anymore.
It isn't. But youth doesn't know that. So,
right. I understand what you're saying about you're not going now because like I was going like every 2 weeks, and my last time I went, I was like, I really don't have anything to like. I almost canceled, and she's like, "Okay, it'll be $85." I was like, "Okay, I'll show up," because I wasn't going to pay the cancel fee. But it's like if you don't have anything to talk about, if things are going good, great. I mean, but I also don't want to lose her as a therapist because she's amazing. So I totally get it.
Part of it was financial. Okay, the divorces and custody battles are expensive. I'll be paying for that for a while.
I ended up firing my lawyer, and I did it myself.
I went through 3. I wish I had.
Yeah, I was like, I can fill these forms out. I can file these motions. I don't need somebody to stand up there but
I, part of it, part of it was financial, and part of it was that what you're saying. You almost feel like, why am I doing this again?
Right.
Everything is great, but a lot of that can be. I know that there's probably a hormonal or not bipolar, but a type of
imbalance.
I know that there's probably a chemical imbalance that runs in my family.
Yep.
I'm sure that there are times when I'm in a funk that I'm just not going to get out of, and there's no reason for it. And there are reasons when I'm overly optimistic, then there's really no reason for it.
Interesting.
And I think that's probably a bit of the bipolar,
but
not extreme.
Right.
I'm not
it's manageable.
Suicidal, and I'm not euphoric.
Right.
But yeah, it's a manageable type of thing. But yeah, it is. I know that it exists. And the cool thing is that I've just been able to surround myself from people who understand me.
Yep.
And again, don't let it affect how I treat other people.
Yeah.
Amazing. I meet a lot of people in my work.
Yeah.
And being able to be positive and present is something that you just kind of get trained to do.
Yeah.
And it's a good life skill because it happens not just at work, but in many places.
Yeah.
Too many times people that are, to bring it back to parenting, spend time with their kids but aren't present.
Yeah, I'm guilty of that too.
Not saying you have to be into every little Minecraft thing he's doing or she's doing or whatever, but to actually engage.
Yeah. Just not say like, cool.
People sometimes say screen time is a bad thing, but if you're both doing screen time together, it's a great thing.
Yeah, I often watch with Sullivan. I often watch kids YouTube with him because then he's like explaining it to me and doing that,
and he's spending time with Dad.
Right, and after about 10 minutes, I'm like, I can't watch this anymore. So,
oh man,
yeah. Real quick with Faith, I assume I shouldn't assume. Faith is in your life.
It is.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're active churchgoer.
Active this, yes.
Okay.
Ada Bible.
Ada Bible.
Yeah.
Okay, nice. I've been very vacant from church in the summer. It's been a long time since I went there. So, how has that helped form daddy daughter? Obviously, you're not talking about it at the event, but
not a faith-based organization.
No.
Now, when people ask me that, are you a faith-based organization? I say I'm faith-based, but this organization is no. And is it a single dad's thing? No. Is it a gay, straight, stepdad, father figure? Yes.
Yeah.
Here's what it is. Open into all male figures who are affecting the life of a young daughter in which they are somewhat related to by marriage or blood.
Right.
Okay, it's pretty wide open.
Yeah.
Right? But no, we don't open up the scriptures or hold a circle prayer or anything like that before these things. I pray about it.
Right.
I pray for the Lord's guidance in helping this organization grow and hopefully find the way, His will.
Yeah.
But That's as far as the religion goes when it comes to daddy-daughter time.
Yeah, I appreciate that you do that because, I went to a Christian school and I see businesses out there sometimes, proclaiming that. And it's great for them, but I feel like it alienates a lot of people if you're like, oh, this is just, if you're not a Christian or if you're, this is what we're about. And that's fine for some people, but, I feel like, I think that alienates a lot of people. So my bosses where I work are really, really, really religious and pretty strict, but it doesn't show that in their business practices. As far we have, obviously they're not. I can't say that I can't say what they're pro, but as far as being gay, we have a subcontractor is and. They're always like, oh, yeah, I had to pray for them. But there's still a working relationship with them. And it's just it's good to see that.
I was at Calvary for a while.
Okay.
And my wife didn't really jive with their theology.
Interesting.
I did because I grew up Mennonite. Okay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I grew up in the young. It wasn't your nice Jesus. It was you. It was come to me or burn in hell. Ooh. It was you had. There was a lot of rapture talk. There was a lot of devil talk. There was a lot of if you take communion and you're not sin free, you're going to hell talk.
Is all Mennonite like that?
I don't know, but it was where I grew up. I mean, when I say Mennonite, people think like it was Amish. We weren't churning butter.
No.
It was just very. To tell you the truth, where I grew up, the Apostolic Christians, the ACs, those were they were like the Amish. They were wearing the skirts down to the ankles and the hair in the bun.
Yeah,
I mean, Mennonite to them probably seemed heathen. But for most people, no, that was pretty strict. It was all hymns. It was no clapping in church. There was no rock band. Okay, there was a lady on an organ. There was the slide thing for the attendance and the offering. You know what I'm talking? I mean, this is small
That's
town.
like old school Christian Reform.
That's pretty much what it was like. And then my parents went non-denominational when I was probably like third or fourth grade, and that was like going to a rock concert.
Yeah,
you were like,
rock
wow,
band church.
That's crazy.
That's a big switch.
It is.
How did they make that jump? Like Ben has a story too where his parents became Baptist. He hasn't told us. I haven't quite figured it out. They're like Baptist and then something like big jumps of religion, not just like we went to a Christian Reform and now we go to undenom. You went from Mennonite to undenom. That's like, whoa.
Yeah, I don't think there was a in between. There wasn't like a gateway non-denom thing.
Well, that's a shot.
I was too young to even know.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that we were talking about when they were at Salem Mennonite, which is still there. I saw it a couple years ago. It was locked. I was wishing it was open because we were also the janitors. We also cleaned it.
Okay.
So, going from there to, I'm trying to think of there was Eastview Christian Church in Bloomington Normal, which was a pretty much non-denom, straight up Christian church. So I was too young to know or to gather how big of a sheer gear shift.
It's a big shift,
but that's it was very reserved. It was very reserved to a not very reserved.
Yeah,
but I think they were going to be missionaries. They were going to do this, and then they just took a left turn and just worked in secular jobs and went to a non-denominational church. And I don't know.
Yeah,
but trust me, my father's passed since then. But my mom is straight up. There's nothing happens in this world without Jesus.
Yeah, nothing.
If she's watching this right now, hi mom. I did tell you I was going to be on this thing, and I'm right, because that's. She praises she gives the Lord credit for everything.
Well, you should.
Yeah, as you should.
Right. Great. So I just want to wrap up. After all our listeners heard this story in Daddy Dar, which is I have to re-up, and I will. You can hold me to it.
It's only $99.
I mean, it's not the money thing. It was just that's why the subscription base works. People are like, whatever, and you forget about it and whatever. But
I want them to come though. That's the funny part.
Well, yeah,
I mean, if they don't, that's great. Whatever.
Yeah, you're not in it to make money.
Is it less expensive? Yeah.
I mean, it's a nonprofit.
Trust me, we are not making money. We are bleeding it.
Right.
So but come on anyway. I mean, it's all come. We've landed on our feet every year, Jason. Yeah. We keep landing on our feet.
Yeah.
And I know that hopefully somebody will hear this. Somebody will tell somebody, and somebody will write a check, and somebody will help support. And we'll keep doing it.
Yeah.
It's good work.
So what would you inspire our listeners? Where should they go? What should, How could they get started with this?
I didn't realize I got plug time.
You get plugged.
I get plug time.
This is not like radio. This is like what.
There should be like a bell. If anybody would love to learn more, either to support, volunteer your time, join, any of those things, I'll give you the number. All right, 616-591-3867. That's going to ring in my home. You're going to go to voicemail. I'll call you back.
Right.
Okay. But that is our number, 616-591-3867. You want to talk to me about Daddy Daughter Time? You have any questions about it? Anything.
Yeah.
Because too many times you hear somebody say, well, how do I find out more? And somebody says, well, go to the website. Yes, we have a website.
Of course.
But I'll talk to you. Okay. I'll answer any question that you have. If you want to know anything else about this organization, I love talking about it, obviously.
I
mean, we can keep going.
You know, it's so funny. I am like a big voice like you, and I'm the one that talks. And
I've blabbed your ear off for an hour.
And it's great. It's just I feel bad I'm not contributing much. And that like when Zane was on too, like I couldn't get a word in.
You get us old radio guys on, we'll never shut up.
Yeah, I mean, you're just the best storytellers ever.
Oh, about that. But yeah, ddtime.org, there is a website.
Yep.
ddtime.org, which will give you what we're about. You'll see photo galleries of every event we've had over the past 4 years, all waiting on you. So
yeah,
you
the photos are really nice. I know that I would go back in there, and they do a good job with that.
That's because I hire ex-MLive photographers.
Okay. They know what they're doing.
And they are excellent at capturing candid moments.
Right.
And I'm like, you are the people that I must have
I mean,
to do this.
They know when to snap it.
Yeah, they're really, really good at it. And, come out to an event.
Yeah, what's the next event?
I mean, something I should let you know. A lot of people may wonder, do you have to be a member to come out to our event?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
You do not have to be a member.
Right.
You can buy a ticket.
Yeah.
I mean, the ticket's going to cost you $20 a pop.
Yeah.
So for you and your daughter's going to be $40.
Yeah.
But at that point, you're like, maybe $99 isn't so bad for a year's worth.
Right.
But you don't have to buy a membership.
And then you can, if they wanted to buy one on site, you would.
Absolutely.
You got something to ring them up.
You can become a member. It's $99 for one daughter and a dad, $149 for two, $199 for three. And if you have 4 more daughters, bless your heart, you're still at $199.
Yeah,
and please,
you can bring her.
Please come and let us help you. And we do have a couple who have 4.
Wow,
which is amazing.
That is amazing.
Yeah. Aaron, you know what I'm talking about. Aaron has 4 daughters. They all start with A.
Oh, really?
So they're like the A team, right?
Like, what are the ages though?
Oh my goodness.
Like, I mean, ballpark.
You don't want to know. Probably 6 to newborn.
Oh,
yeah, they're all young. I mean,
man.
His diaper bill has got to be insane.
He needs a subscription, a PayPal link somewhere so somebody can donate to his diaper.
That therapist you were talking about?
Right.
Yeah, and he's a great dad.
Yeah.
He's out at a lot of events. Takes them all at the same time. He is all in. Love that man.
Good for him.
Good for him.
So.
But yeah, you don't have to be a member. You can.
Okay.
You were asking me a question. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's all right. What's the next event?
Oh, I just broke the mic. Is it a clamp?
It is.
Okay, good.
You can just hold it. We're almost wrapping up too. That's okay.
See this? See that?
It's not gonna work.
I'm just gonna hold it.
You take it out.
I feel like a rock star. I feel like Aerosmith right now.
I got somebody on my other podcast. His name, Jesper. Yeah, he constantly messes with this thing. I'm like, before we start the podcast, I'm like, I tighten it as tight as I can. I'm like,
he's moving it. Don't touch
mess it. It's just like a fidgety thing. Yeah, this isn't radio quality. This is like,
this is good though.
I mean, yeah,
this is really good.
Well,
you have a beautiful studio. Next event, Daddy Daughter Time Derby. Yes, it's a hit because it's horses. Okay. This is the event where we go horseback riding. We learn about vaulting, which is basically gymnastics on a horse, which is nuts.
Okay.
And it's a great place, Karen's Horse Connection.
Okay.
That's where we're going to be heading. And then, see, now you put me. We have been on camera the whole time.
The whole time.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, well, we're live streaming.
I forgot.
Yeah, I don't show that.
That's why you don't do that, because people are always.
Yeah, they're looking to see what they look like.
My hair. So after that, we got the Dad-Tona 500, which we're doing this year at AJ's Family Fun Center. We're going to have the place to ourselves. We're doing time trials. It's going to be fun. Dads get to race, and then the girls and dads we get to park to ourselves for a couple hours.
All right, cool.
And then there's more. There's a hayride coming up. There's a brush bash where we're going to be some painting together, and then there's always our snowball in December. And we just came off of yesterday was our philanthropic event. I didn't even tell you about that. Each year we always do an event that gives back. So we went to Lavender Life Farms.
Oh, yeah, I saw that
Caledonia.
Online.
Great owners of this farm that donate these warmable lavender stuffed bunnies that they grow the lavender on that farm to kids going through foster care. foster care system. So the trauma, the transition, all that kind of stuff. Sometimes these younger kids, this warmable lavender smelling bunny really can help them. They get a good body. Yeah, so we cut some lavender and we stuffed over 600 bunnies for the. We had a little sweatshop going.
Wow,
it was awesome. Enjoyed some s'mores and had a really good time with Lavender Life Company.
Amazing.
Yeah, so we like to show daughters giving back is important too. Paying it forward and altruism. That's part of what we believe.
Okay. Yeah. Well, thanks for coming on. I will make sure I post all your social links and everything on the page. So good job with that, by the way.
I mean, you got to go with it.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks a lot. Have a good night.